Thanks for your attention. I'm Yuzhe Zhang. Our research team in CG Merck, Chang'an Medical Education Research Center, want to share a study about using metaphor to make sense of emergency physician's profession. Let's start. The notion that emergency physicians are generalists presented the emergency physician with a unique challenge in understanding who they are and their specific contribution to the healthcare system. This touch on their sense of self or professional self and position in the healthcare system. Researchers suggest that a sense of self can shape by environmental factors and legitimized by other people. Thus, is an interplay of both internal and external factors. So we set out to answer this question. What narrative do emergency physicians use to make sense of certain aspects of their profession? Internal factor refers to our perception of who we are, while external factors refer to our perception of how others see us. We look at both internal and external factors. With regard to internal factor, our main question was, how do emergency physicians describe their profession and work environment? And with regard to external factors, our main question was, how do other people view the emergency medicine specialty? Our aim was to understand how emergency physicians use metaphors of their choice to describe how they perceive their profession. Why use metaphors? Because metaphor is an invaluable tool employed to make sense of the world. So we hope to draw a picture of the abstract topic of emergency physician profession using concepts already embedded in our mind. Like a magnifying glass on an abstract painting of colors, we will be able to magnify each section. We will find narrative that makes up the story of emergency medicine profession. Therefore, we invited 25 emergency residents and attending physicians from all branches of a medical center in Taiwan. We used a semi-structured interview to collect the emergency physician narrative about their profession. Also, we scanned the text for metaphorical linguistic expression and then use them to derive conceptual metaphors. Using metaphors, emergency physicians were able to paint how they see. For the medical environment and the emergency work environment, they conceptualize this as medicine is world and the emergency department is a battlefield. The role of the emergency specialty and the emergency physician in the society. Emergency physician conceptualize that the ED as the button of the social safety net. For the role of emergency department in the healthcare system and in connecting the hospital and the society, emergency physician conceptualize this as ED is a gatekeeping hub and the public relation windows of the hospital. First, let's look at emergency department is a battlefield. This conceptual metaphor explains the medical environment with a specific focus on emergency department environment and the people involved in the day-to-day running of the ED. Emergency physicians view the ED environment as a battlefield where critical disease described as explosives are waging a war against patients, and the emergency physicians are frontline soldiers fighting on behalf of the patient. To win this war, emergency physicians rely on other emergency physicians in the subsequent shift or senior emergency physicians who are described as backup. They also rely on supporting staff that they refer to as weapons in the battlefield. In addition to that, they have help from physicians in other specialties, which they describe as backline backup and allies. Finally, emergency physicians have medical technology in their hands which they view as another form of weapon. This is a quotation of an attending physician talking about weapons and their lives. The conceptual metaphor for emergency department is a social safety net. This is used to describe the role played by the emergency department in the society and the social aspect of emergency physician's role in the healthcare system. In this conceptualization, the emergency department is like an imaginary limit or border between the society and the healthcare system. In the society, emergency physicians are the last line after everything has failed. They form part of social safety net, mostly the button of the social safety. In this case, the emergency department is portrayed as the last way to remedy the situation after all the other systems put in place have failed. This is another quotation of an attending physician talking about the last shelter and the last rescue. The conceptual metaphor about ED is a gatekeeping hub and the public relations window. Explain the role of the ED in the hospital and in the healthcare system in connecting them to the society. Emergency physicians are seen as being on the first line, with the other specialties and hospitals standing behind them. They are responsible for receiving patients like gatekeepers and have to guard the healthcare system, especially in Taiwan. Due to their model of care, emergency physicians see all kinds of patients. Therefore, the emergency department is the main source of patients for the hospital. Emergency physicians thus conceptualize the role of the emergency department as a gate, entrance to the hospital, and as a gatekeeping referral system of the hospital. The ED acts on behalf of the hospital in cases of emergency, especially those involving media coverage, to facilitate communication between the public and the hospital. This is the quotation talking about the entrance and the hub. Through the use of metaphor, we have gained insight on how emergency physicians experience their profession. The different metaphorical narratives help to construct various aspects of what it means to be an emergency physician, hence may give us insights of what may influence and what shapes the behavior of emergency physician. This is essential in establishing emergency medicine as an irreplaceable specialty and in enhancing professional identities of emergency physician. A special change needs to be noted. Metaphor show one aspect and hide others. The puzzle of emergency physician's experience might not complete. The take-home message. First, metaphor allows us to relate with emergency physician narrative of their specialty. The last, metaphor analysis is a tool that can be used to construct how emergency physicians from multidisciplinary specialty like family medicine and internal medicine conceptualize their profession. Thank you for your attention.